All right, hello everyone. My name's Rob. I'm with PreCodeCamp.com, and this video is going to be for you JavaScript beginner learners out there, just looking to get exposed as well as expand your minds just a little bit with some challenges, because the best way to learn JavaScript is to be challenged and have these possible learning lessons here. So here is the prompt. You are provided with an array of names of different students. So as you can see on my line 10, I have Martin, Thomas, Peter, John, and Nikki. Now your task is to utilize this provided array and split them up into two teams, right? Where every other person is part of the team. Use a for loop in order to complete this challenge. So what do we mean by this prompt is that it's almost like you're back in middle school or high school in a gym class and you're looking to split teams up, and that coach says, hey, go ahead and count off ones and twos, right? And so you're counting off, hey, there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 1, right? And so you're just splitting them up into two separate teams. So that is what is meant by that prompt. All right, so this would be a great point for you to go ahead and pause the video, see if you're able to challenge yourself, see if you're able to at least get some code written down. And if not, no worries. You can come back. We're going to go through this code and we're going to go through it methodically and kind of talk about what we're doing at each step. All right. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create some storage. So we need to create a variable for the two teams, and I'm just going to call it team 1, team 2, and we're going to set those up as empty arrays, because eventually I would like to put data in them, and so they're going to live on my lines 12 and lines 13. So the way that you need to start approaching some of these tasks is, hey, we already got a storage place for them, team 1 and team 2. Now it says that we need to have a loop. So I would try to challenge myself to see if I can create a for loop and just simply console log the names. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to at least do that. Now the for loop is going to be very standard, very basic. It's a standard for loop. We're going to initialize the variable here of the iteration. We're going to set that equal to 0. Now the next part that you see here is, how long do we want to stay in this loop for? What conditions need to be met for me to stay inside this loop? That's what goes right here. So as long as I is less than our student.length, right? Students.length, and that comes from up here. So this makes it very dynamic, saying that if we happen to add more students that later come on in the gym, we're able to put them inside this array, and our loop would still function and go through all of the names. That's the point of that one. And then this last piece here is your iteration. So at the end of each loop that it goes through, it's going to add 1 to that loop counter. Now inside the loop here, this is where I said I would challenge yourself to see if you are able to simply just console log a name from the students array. And if you remember, JavaScript is 0 based. So if I wanted to console log Martin, for example, I would do students square bracket 0. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do a console log of students square bracket 0. And let's go ahead and save and let's run that code. And you'll see that I have 5 Martins. Okay. Now, of course, I can change this 0 here to a 2. Save it, run it, and now I get Peter. Okay, let me play that again. Peter, 5 times. So that's great. I'm getting names, but I need the names to be a little bit more dynamic. And then what I would challenge you to do is, instead of putting 2 inside here, what should I put in here to make it go through all the names, right? And so the answer to that is I. I is something that is changing every single time we go through this loop. And so if I save that and then I run it, Notice I get Martin, Thomas, Peter, John, Nikki. Okay. Perfect. So now I know that I am able to get a name. Now, how do I put them in there, right? How do I put them in team 1 and team 2? And so it's almost like you have to think of this as like a train track, right? Hey, if you're an odd, I need you to go in team 1, for example. If you're an even, I need you to go in team 2, right? So those are the things that you need to kind of think about. So for that, we need a conditional, and we are going to check to see, is our iterator, is it currently odd or is it even? And then the way to utilize that is to do modulus, okay? Modulus, which means it's going to check the remainder. So the way that we are going to go about this is we'll do the following. We'll say if our current iterator, and if we utilize the percent sign and 2, and we set that equals to 0, this right here is checking the iterator and saying, hey, whatever number you're at right now, and if it's 2, for example, if your I equals 2, right? So 2 divided by 2 is, right? And then the remainder is 0, right? Like, that's all we're caring about whenever we see this percent sign. So we're checking out the remainder. So for example, if 4% sign 2, okay? So that's really saying 4 divided by 2 is, okay? And what's the remainder? Is the remainder 0? Yes, it is, right? So that's what this percent sign is doing. All right, so we can put something in here. We can say, you know what, if you are considered a remainder of 0, that means we're in an even position, and I can do a team1.push, and then we can set that to students square bracket I, okay? And then with every if statement, you're totally okay to do an else if you need it. We definitely do. So you either have a remaining of 0, you're either even or you're odd, right? So the next part is then we need to put you in the other team, right? So push students square bracket I, okay? All right. So now that we have that outside of the for loop, let's go ahead and console log. And we're going to do, we'll do team 1, team 1. And then we'll go ahead and put in team 2 in here. So I'm just copying and pasting this to make it a little bit easier on me. Okay, let's clear this out. I'm also going to comment out my line 16. I don't want to junk up the console too much. And so there we go. So now we have Martin, Peter, Nikki are on team 1, and then we have Thomas and John, they're on team 2. All right, so there we go. We solved our team problem. And again, feel free to add more names to this to test out your code to make sure that it truly is dynamic, because I can come in here, I can put a comment here. We could do Jody, save it, and then we'll run it. We should see Jody in there as well. So again, pretty neat way for you to test out your knowledge utilizing arrays in JavaScript. We touched on for loops in JavaScript, and then we also talked about the modulus as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be producing more and more challenge videos as the days and weeks come. Thanks for watching.